Hi there, it's Karen at Corrie Papercrafts, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in central Scotland. Today's project is this little box here. It's a 2-inch square box, or 2-inch cubed rather. I'm sure I've made one of these before, but I thought it would be quite cute to do a Halloweeny type project. It's quite a good size that you can fill with all sorts of goodies for Halloween, and I just absolutely love this sort of spider webby ribbon. The sentiment is stamped using the Everything Essential cling stamp set, and it's punched out using the rectangular postage stamp punch. Just give me a second till rectangular postage stamp punch. Yeah, I was right. So I'm going to show you how I made it. Oh, and the DSP is from the beautiful Magic in This Night 12x12 designer series paper pack, and it's on 2 black cardstock. So I'm going to show you how I made it. It's a nice, quick and easy box to make. So you'll need a piece of cardstock which measures 8.5 inches by 6.5 inches, or 21.5 by 16.5 centimetres, and you'll need 5 pieces of DSP which measure 1 7/8 by 1 7/8 inches square, and that's 4.8 by 4.8 centimetres. So let's pop these just off to the side and grab the scoreboard and do a little bit of scoring. So it's really quite easy because it's all just in 2s. So on the long side, score at 2, 4, 6, whoops, went a bit wonky just at the bottom, and 8 inches, which is 5, 10, 15 and 20 centimetres. Turn it round to the short side and score at 2, 4 and 6 inches, which is 5, 10 and 15 centimetres. So get the scoreboard away out of the way again and fold and burnish on all your score lines, just like so. And I think I'll manage to do that way, yep. And then these ones too. I just love this paper pack. I'm going to order more. I just think I've not been a fan of some of the Halloween papers that we've done in the past, but I just adore this pack as well, and I have shown it in a previous video, and actually it's the Stamp Around UK video that I posted on the 1st of August. So if you want to see through the paper pack, I showed through it there. So this is what we've got here. We've got 3 lots of 2x2 boxes here, and the thin edge at the top and this little narrow edge here. We are going to get rid of everything on this end except this middle part here. So I'm removing this rectangle, taking the score line with me and just cutting that at an angle. Didn't cut that very well though. There we are. And then I'm going to remove this whole part here. So just cutting down, taking the score line with me so that it stays on this part here, and then just cut at an angle here as well. So that's all we've got left here. Now we're going to keep this part for the lid that folds over to the front of the box. This is going to be a flap and this is going to be a flap, so we're going to remove this square completely. So we're not going to touch this square here, but we are going to remove the score line so that the straight edge stays on that square. So the score line is gone, and then we're just going to cut down the middle of these other score lines here, because we're going to remove one part and notch into the others, so we don't need to be so precise. So just cut right down those score lines there. So we're going to remove this square altogether, so we'll do that first. And again, I'm going to take the score line as I go because I want a straight edge here. And then I'm going to bring in my trimmer actually, because I did manage to cut the edges straight when I did it. So I'm going to fold this in and just line that up roughly to the 1 inch mark, and then I can see it again there. And I'm going to fold this part over. That was nearly a disaster. And then just cut through those flaps there. So if you can't cut straight edges like me, then use your trimmer. And then I'm going to notch slightly at each side of these flaps like so. And on this one too. And that's the top of my box prepared. I'll just get that little furry bit away too. Okay, and for the bottom of the box, you're just going to cut straight up all of those score lines like so. There we are. So this is what you're left with on the bottom as well. So all I'm going to do now is just round the corners on the top of here with my detailed trio punch. I tend to use this all the time now. I don't know what I did without it. Well, we did have another corner rounder, a Project Life corner rounder before, but I love the curve that you get from the detailed trio punch. So this is going to be the inside of the box, so I want to put tape on this side of this little side flap here, because that's what's going to hold my box together. And I'm just going to put a piece of tear and tape along next to that score line there. There we are. Give that a bit of a rub in readiness for putting it together, and then I'm going to add my pieces of designer series paper onto here. Now this is the bottom of the box, so with the lid at the top, you want to make sure if you have a directional paper that your pattern goes up and down the way, with the top of your pattern here and the bottom of the pattern there. Mine isn't particularly directional, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. And I'm going to put these on with some liquid glue, just getting close to the corners, and pop them on just like so. And again, just making sure I've got an even border all round and giving the corners a wee extra press. This isn't a particularly directional paper, this one, but I'm just paying attention anyway, because these flowers look like they mostly go up and down that way, but it is quite a random pattern. So I'm not going to say it too soon, but my last couple of projects that I've filmed, I've actually done really quite well in lining up the DSP that I've been putting onto my panels. So kind of wishing I hadn't said that now, but hopefully we'll get to the end of this and it'll all be good. There we are. I do like monochrome, I have to say. I'm really quite a fan of black and white. There's just something I think quite striking about it. And I'm going to put this last piece on here. Kind of glued my finger there at the same time, but again, I'm not going to say it too loudly, but I'm quite pleased at how glue free I've been on my last few projects as well. But again, it's famous last words. Now, because this is going to go round like this and the lid is going to face this way, I want to turn my box round and pop my designer series paper on that way round. I'm not quite sure if it really makes any difference. I think looking at my flowers, they look like they kind of face up and down that way, so I'll put it on that way, I think. There we are. So just that last piece on there. Again, just make sure that I press down my edges and particularly the corners. There we go. So I'm going to put my glue away just for a minute, and I'm going to remove the backing on my tape here, and because it's a symmetrical box, I'm just going to fold that over and it should line up and join together perfectly. So to help my box go together and keep square at the bottom, I'm actually going to fasten the lid. In fact, no, I'm not. What I'm going to do first of all is make a little notch. Now, I know our 1-inch punch is retired, but you might still have one, or you might have a different punch. If you want to use a 1.5-inch punch, then I would punch the notch before you put the box together, otherwise the punch won't fit in. And I'm just eyeballing that to try and make sure I've got an equal gap on both sides, and that looks about right. So here we go. Quite a snappy sound. Then I'll put my box together. Now, because this flap is only 1/2 inch, by the way, don't make this notch too deep or you'll find that that won't stay in because you've taken too much away here. So this is the front of my box, so this is the flap that's going to go down last. So I want to put in my 2 sides and then my back flap. So I'm going to bring my glue back in again. I'm getting quite good at doing my boxes with liquid glue now. And I'm just going to make sure that I get some glue round the edges, particularly what will be the outer edges of my box. There we are. And then fold that other side flap over, and again making sure that any gaps at the sides, because I hate gaping boxes, and bring the black back flap over, or black flap because it is black. I've got a little bit of seepage there, but that's okay. And then, so that I don't have an untidy finish, I'm just going to put my glue on the actual flap that I'm putting over from the front, and I'm just going to pop that over last, and that'll all just join together nicely. Now I've got a tiny bit of overlap just at the edge, so I'm just going to trim that with my paper snips, and I see another little bit there. There we go. And that's my box together. So I'm just going to grab my paper folder and just make sure that all those edges are down, because I think I pushed this first flap a little bit too far in, so I just want to make sure that those are all stuck down. And my box is ready for the ribbon. Now this is just absolutely gorgeous. It's metallic mesh ribbon. It does look a little bit like spider web, and I just absolutely love it. So these are in the August to December mini catalogue. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got enough to be able to tie a bow. That's probably far too much, but I want to make sure I've got plenty. No, I don't want you though. And then I'm just gently bringing it up round the sides of my box, because I think it is 2 inches. Does it actually tell you? 3.8 centimetres, so it's not quite 2 inches. It's about maybe 1.5 inches, something like that. And it's just gorgeous, but it's really quite forgiving. It doesn't stretch like our polka dot tulle ribbon does, because if you pull that too hard it will stretch, but this kind of keeps its shape. So I'll tie it in a bow, and then I'll fix it round the sides just once I've done that. So you can be a little bit all fingers and thumbs just until you get your bow tied. There we are. And I'm just wanting to make sure that my loops and my tails are going in slightly different directions. So I'll just pull that out and make sure that the loops aren't too big, but I don't want them too small either, because I want them to be a bit of a bold statement on the box. And I'm just going to fix that round there. There we are. I'm not quite sure what way you want to go, and I'm just going to grab my big scissors and cut at an angle here and here. I probably could have done with a little bit more, so I'll just shorten that to match. There we are, and pull that back out just a wee bitty. There we are. So get rid of all of that, and then we're ready to do a bit of stamping. So using where is it? Here it is here. The Everything Essential stamp set. It's a cling stamp set, so it's the red rubber, and it's the Trick or Treat stamp that I've used here, which I've already got mounted on a block. And I'm using my Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and then so that I don't rock the camera, I'll stamp this not on the desk because it'll sugar. Just stamp that down. Give it a minute or two to take, because it's quite a solid stamp, so I want to make sure I've got a nice clear image. That's not bad at all. Pop the lid back on my ink and grab my rectangular postage label stamp, which is in the new August to December catalogue as well. Now it only just fits, and it cuts off a little bit of the bats and the tree at the side, but I'm not too worried about it. I'd rather have more of the tree than more of the bats, because there are plenty bats. So that looks okay to me. A nice crunchy noise there. And then I'm going to bring in my black dimensionals, which I just love. These are one of my favourite products actually. These are in the annual catalogue. They were carried over from the catalogue last year. And I'll pop one in the middle. You know me and dimensionals. I don't scrimp on dimensionals, because I'm not wanting to spoil a project for the sake of one or two dimensionals. So there we go. And then I'm just going to centre that on there like that. There we are. And that's my box finished. I just love those. I think they're nice and cute. They would hold plenty treats at Halloween. If you're not into Halloween, then if you just like monochrome boxes, they can be used for anything really, and you've got a little bit of shimmer with the ribbon as well. So thanks for watching. I hope you liked that. All the details will be in the description bar below. If you liked the project, please give me a thumbs up. That's always very much appreciated. If you haven't already subscribed, then I would love it if you would subscribe and press the little bell icon, which then lets you get a reminder or a notification when I next post a project. So until I see you next time, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.